So I showed you guys this in a quick short, and I explained to you that this was actually my first AR that I built for a 3-gun competition. I wanted to take a second and just go through this, and I'm also going to share some other ARs with you. It's been the natural progression over the years. I'm not much of a person to sell firearms. I am absolutely a firearm hoarder. I'll build things for specific purposes, or I'll put together something and then decide there's another option or whatever, and I'll test, I'll experiment. So this is the gun I showed you in the film. You notice the optics off of it now. Maybe not, but it's off of it now. It's a EOTech. We took the optic off actually when we pulled this out of the safe the other day, and we put it on another firearm. This has a, and this was kind of a new deal back in 2004 when these were coming out. This was a actual ambidextrous charging handle. Made it really easy for a left-handed person to shoot it. You know, previous 2004, that part didn't exist. This has a DPMS high bar, slick side, no shell deflector, no forward assist, upper receiver. That was a newer part too that DPMS Panther Arms has started offering. Because of the fact it had the slick side, no bolt forward assist, it has a less bare bolt carrier. Probably still the best bolt carrier you're gonna buy. I don't even know if they're still made. I assume they are. Les Bear was definitely a tier 1 manufacturer. The high bar I really liked because it would line up with your shooting eye. You didn't have to crouch down. You didn't have to anything. You pulled the gun up, you went on the shoulder, and the dot lined up each and every time fast. This has the ambidextrous safety, of course. I'm left-handed again. This it was an early prototype A stock that got sent to me after meeting these guys at a DPMS 3-gun match in Minnesota. They had these on their table and they were talking about them, and I don't know, I guess I said the right words to the right people at the right time, and maybe they felt bad for me or sorry for me, but regardless, I got it. It's got a whole grip. Nothing fancy to talk about there. This does have and DPMS made this part as well. It was a DPMS oversized charging handle. It made it real easy for a left-handed person to lock the gun open, which for lefties is an issue. Right-handed person, no problem. That's right where it needs to be. But I could lock it, I could release it. On this side, again, this is a left-handed issue. I couldn't use my trigger finger on my right hand like normal people would, right? I couldn't access it. So I'm forced to grab and strip the magazine versus pressing a button and dropping it. This has an early free float quad rail. These were a big thing for a minute when they first came out. There was other free float tubes that were available, but they were smooth. You know, some were shorter, some were longer, but they didn't really have any place to attach bipods or grips or flashlights or anything like that. This is the same time that these were coming out. And now this is a pretty, it shows its age. This isn't a part that you're going to put on most things anymore. Then it actually had a quad rail gas block, which I'm not sure why I tried it. I think just because it was something new. Everything at this point had been either a standard low pro gas block or something with a bayonet lug. It's a DPMS barrel that I had checked the boxes. It had it heat, stress relieve, cryogenic, every little goofy box they had that you could pick, and these options aren't even available anymore. I checked them. It's a 1 in 9 twist barrel. It's got a 223 chamber in it. We didn't shoot the heavy, 77 grain. This wasn't a long range precision rifle. And at this time, most of the ARs available or most of the barrels were 1 in 9. You could get like 1 in 10 or 1 in 12. And you get 1 in 8s pretty easy. But pretty much standard barrels were 1 in 9. You were shooting 55 grain, 60 grain bullets. This has a JP Enterprises muzzle brake. If memory serves me right, this was the first muzzle brakes they started making. It's a real simple design, just an angled tube, nothing real fancy about it. But man, it worked. It works really well, and even compared to today's standards, it it outperforms most everything else out there. Now, this was kind of a range hater. You didn't shoot this gun and make friends. You know, if you were shooting a rifle match or a 3-gun match, your range officer hated you. There was no way around it. They hated you. You know, earplugs, earmuffs, and it's still painful. You're on a fire line sighting in or just whatever else, just playing at a range someday. You didn't make any friends with that. But what it would do is it would shut the whole range down because of how ridiculously loud it was. The guys 3-4 benches away, well, they'd stop shooting for a while until you were finished. They'd come back to the fire line. But you could absolutely look at them and see the distaste and the dissatisfaction in your life choices. They weren't impressed. We'll just leave it at that. It's got a jewel trigger. I'd love to show it to you and explain to you how it works. It was a really, really cool trigger. I haven't been a few other guns yet. They were expensive. They were, you know, that $350 range back in early 2000s. So, I mean, I don't know what that would relate to in today's money, but we'll just say expensive. The finish on it is a Duracoat finish. One time I had a shop, and this was some of the work we did. This was one of the first guns I ever did, learning the process, learning how to make the stencils, the patterns, how to lay the color on. So it was an experiment for me. And, you know, 20 years later, this gun's held up really well. Now, it's been in the safe for a while. It's not like something we go shoot all the time. It's got pulled out. My son wanted to see it. You know, he's always moving things around it, but he actually wanted to see this and check it out. So we got it out and shared the footage with you. That's all I got to say about that. As Forrest Gump would say, that's all I got to say about that. But we have lots more to show you. So I'm gonna hand this to my daughter here, and we're gonna show you the next rifle I built. And this one, that's nice. It's only firearms. These are all unloaded. They have been checked. So, I mean, may not be a great idea for us to be dropping them off film, but it is what it is. This is the rifle I built for my oldest son. He started shooting with me, and it was back in I want to say right around 2009, 2010. I think 2010. And it started out life as just a simple Smith & Wesson 15 Sport, I think is what it was. But I made the mistake. This is during the era of bump stocks, and we put a bump stock on it, and then we set the gun down, and I melted a real nice brand new case all over his nice carbine length, you know, barrel. And man, he cried. He was so mad at me. I felt bad. I made another poor life choice, like a lot of them. You'll see a pattern here. I don't make real great decisions all the time. So I changed the barrel to get rid of the stuff on there. For me, it would have been fine. To him, yeah, he got this gun that year for Christmas, and I destroyed the looks of the barrel. So when I did that, I bought this forearm. It was a cheap one. I think this is when UTG first started coming out with parts. This is a UTG forearm. It's all aluminum. It's fairly heavy. You know, doesn't have M-lock or key mod. This is just rail sections that you would bolt on. And we did some experiment this time, and this was the muzzle brake for him that he liked. I don't recall who made it, and it's not marked. I want to say it was like a Fat 5 or a Fat Man or something. Let's not start on the fat jokes. I hear them anyway. Let's skip that part. If you do feel compelled to say it, I don't need to hear it or read it. This optic was a replacement optic for what was originally on here. It's a Vortex, I don't know, Strike something. I'm not real impressed with it. It was cheap, it was on sale, and this was going to a 13-year-old kid. Came with a flip-up rear sight. I don't remember what the front sight was, if it was a Magpul, but I know this was actually a flip-up Smith & Wesson sight. It does have the ambidextrous charging handle on it. Again, probably because I'm left-handed. It does have a ambi safety on it. One thing that's in here that got put in a couple years after we had the gun, after we got rid of the bump stocks, was this has one of the first original tack-on 3MR triggers. If you don't know what that is, I mean, today you would know maybe more widely as a forced reset trigger, a wide open trigger, or a rare breed. This is the design that them were copied off of. This definitely does not. I'll say it again, Mr. ATF agent reviewing my videos. This does not, third time, does not work like a standard modern forced reset trigger. This is a forced assisted reset. It does move your finger forward, but it does not take you off the reset, so you do still have to relieve enough pressure for it to reset. But it does, when the gun cycles, it does get rid of about 60-70% of that reset. Kind of slick. There is an ATF approval letter for this that has not been revoked. Again, ATF agent that's reviewing this footage. So that's that. He went with a Magpul grip on here. It was just what he liked at the time. It was thin. He makes a lot of poor life choices too, so he chose a bad lever. I won't give my opinions on them. He likes it. I'll stop there. This has a Blackhawk stock, of course, adjustable. It's thin. It's light. This whole gun, when I think we weighed it last, right around 6 pounds. It's actually a really lightweight AR. It's not the lightest one we have, but it's light. It's a good shooter. I don't remember what I changed the barrel out to. It is a 1 in 9 yet. Might be a 1 in 8. I really don't remember. It is a 223 Wild chamber though. I do remember that. I think it's, I'd have to look. I can't tell. It's, I mean, 4 arms on it. So that's one of the other guns. He liked the fat magazine release, as it was red. I mean, now we kind of get cringe when we see people putting red crap on their rifles, but I'm guilty of it. I have done it. I have another rifle I'll show you here in a little while that's got some of it on there too. So Smith & Wesson AR. So this, it's fine. It's only, it's only rifles. Nothing, well, it is expensive. So this was pretty much my second build that I did for a purpose. This was my 3-gun rifle that I retired the other one with. I got hit with a lot of brass with that one. Got a lot of really nasty burns. So this was the rifle that replaced it. It's an Aimpoint Comp M2 with a magnifier on there. The magnifier is kind of new. I've only had that on here for a while. I was just ran just the Aimpoint. This does still have the Ace stock. This one's all branded and marked and all that stuff. It's definitely a newer version of it. We stole the ambidextrous charging handle out of this. I don't shoot this gun really much at all anymore. This has a Troy forearm. And I'm gonna hear from you guys. I already hear it. I've heard it before. Man, that looks like a big black dick. It's not a big black dick. It's not a big black dildo. It's a Troy forearm. There's rubber inserts in it. And them inserts are in there because guns get hot. They get very hot. So these inserts are in there so that when this gun is scorching hot, you can hold it. You're not burning your hands. It's actually a purpose to them, and it's not for her pleasure, right? It's a free float tube, 15 inch in length. This does have, and this is a kind of a later thing that got added, because I stole the muzzle brake off of another gun, and then put this one on here. That's a Stag 3G muzzle brake. It works. Yeah, it works really, really well, but it works a little too well. It doesn't balance the rifle when it shoots. It'll actually cause muzzle dip. Uh, not great. It's better than the gun recoiling high, but it's got a hard push down. We'll do some footage when it gets warm out of these different brakes and stuff. It's just a nickel boron bolt carrier, which I wouldn't recommend them. That's not the right option. We're not going to discuss what lower receiver this is because there's no names on it. This does have a Saber Defense single stage trigger. It's a flat face. I think when we measured it, it was just at 3 pounds. I wouldn't recommend this trigger to anybody. I don't like the profile of how they did it. It's not just flat. They've rounded it. It was a bargain trigger. I tried. I don't like it. This isn't the trigger that was originally in this gun, but things get changed and holes get filled. Again, I don't want to hear any jokes about that. So we'll go on to the next one. So I built this rifle for my middle son. He's had this for 6-7 years now. He was pretty small when I built it. I want to say he was 7 years old. So the idea with this one was about weight, making it light. This isn't necessarily how I would build my rifle, and you're seeing that. This has a Bushnell optic, definitely inexpensive. I figured as he got better with the rifle, we could discuss optics and he could pick his own. So far, each time we look at him, this is what he stays with, and being it still works, it holds 0. He's chosen to save my money and not run it. There is no ambidextrous charging handle on it. This has, it's actually, because it got taken out of other rifles, this has another dual trigger. And this thing is just unbelievable. This is set up with a 2-stage. So you can set the dual trigger up to be a single stage trigger, a 2-stage. This is set right about 3 pounds, and we left it set up for a 2-stage for him. And you see a little bit of movement there, so you feel it. And there it is. You're able to adjust pre-travel, over travel. You're able to turn it into a single stage trigger, 2-stage trigger. They were expensive. I've had that trigger since early 2000. And it was just something that filled the hole. Again, no jokes. It filled the hole when we needed a trigger for his rifle. Nothing fancy with the bolt. I don't recall. I think this was a Aero Precision upper. It's a Spikes Tactical lower. The coolest part on this gun is there's 2. One, it's got a really nice Wilson Combat barrel. It's fluted, I don't know what else to say about 223 Wild, but we went with a carbon fiber forearm. And we went with a Surefire Pro Comp. Doesn't have the threads to attach a suppressor, but an 8-year-old, I wasn't too concerned about attaching a suppressor. I'm still not. If he wants a suppressor on this rifle, he's going to have to wait till he's of age. He can do his own damn paperwork. I'm not doing it for him. Nor would it be legal to do for him, right? You gotta be in possession of your own NFA items, not giving your child or a neighbor or, whoever, them things. This gun, it weighs, I should have a scale here to show you. It's right about 6 pounds. Super, super lightweight. And I actually really like it. There's no fancy grip on it. It's just a standard A2 grip. I did have a minimalist stock on this. And I stole it off of it for my daughter's rifle. She's a lot smaller than him at this point, and we were trying to shave some weight off of her gun. So we stole his stock, which, I'm going to have to put it back eventually because it's his. But just like everything, I paid for it. I can do what I want with it. So you've been watching the video for this long. I thank you for still watching it. I also thank you if you haven't made any fat jokes. I appreciate it. If you have, Come on now. If you haven't made any big dick jokes about the forearms, I appreciate that too. So this is where all my progression has landed. This 2023. I started shooting competition in 2000. My first couple of ARs, which I don't have anymore, were just run-of-the-mill band era ARs. My first one was a Bushmaster 20-inch, and that worked great for CMP. It wasn't something you use for 3-gun. The second AR I ever purchased was a Bushmaster. Had a 14.5-inch barrel with a pin and welded AK style break, like the one you would find on an AK-74. It was an A3, so it had a removable handguard. At that time, you weren't able to have collapsible stocks or anything else. No bayonet lug. But that gun shot, man. If you guys ever have a chance to get one of them old Bushmasters, when it was still Bushmaster, that's where it's at. It was a 1-9 twist, had a chrome line barrel, had a 223 cut chamber. The quality on it was phenomenal. But I built a lot of ARs over the years to try different things. This is my latest one. This is primary arms, 1-8 power optic illuminated. It does have a quick throw handle on it. I'm not sure if I like this optic or not. I've had it a year. I got it last year, actually, exact same time. It was on Black Friday. We spent most of this last summer shooting pistol and pistol matches, so I'm not sure if I'm sold on it or not. It's got a radiant charging handle. It's got the B5 or the Beltor style stock. Stock I absolutely love. And you'll notice a couple things. One, it's got them red parts that, you know, we all like to talk shit about, saying somebody's a newbie. But when these parts first came out, I mean, they were kind of cool. Maybe not so much now because they've been played out, but they were still cool. Red's one of my favorite colors, so I liked it. This has a short throw safety, which when them came out was actually, you know, cool to do. It is fast. It is faster than a 90. You'll notice there's no right-hand eject anymore. At this point, I accepted the fact that I really got tired of getting hit with brass or having brass fly past my shooting or my weak eye. So we did something about that. This is a Stag Arms upper and lower. This wasn't their 3-gun competition model. I had this before that model came out. When that model came out, I did order their barrel. It's a 18-inch 1-8 with a 223 Wild. It is stainless steel. It is fluted, which added some weight to the gun. You know, has a low profile gas block that you can't see. It has a rifle link gas system. This does have a carbon fiber forearm, which sounds great. That part's not going to stay on here for long. You get a lot of slivers from carbon fiber as you throw them and beat them. They look cool. I have another rifle that we won't be showing you today. We will. It's got a carbon fiber forearm. That's perfect for that rifle. This, for actually running and gunning with them, walking fast. Yeah, I'm fat. Oh, here comes fat jokes. Walking fast with them, jogging with them. It's not the right forearm for that type of shooting. This does have a Troy ambidextrous magazine release. And when I got that, I thought, man, that's going to be the coolest part ever. And I've put that on the gun. It was one of the first things I put on this gun. And I still forget it's there. I still use the magazine release like a right-hander would. I strip the mag out with my right hand. I mean, I should remember it's there, but it's the only AR I own that has that. So I don't have the fat DPMS charging handle that I like. If they were still in production, I definitely would. I love that part. Of course, it's got the red bolt forward assist. I know, guys. Oh, all right. Ooh, fast that. But it's got that. It looks cool. Red trigger guard. Go ahead. Just get it out of your way. Let me know when you're done typing. All right, I think you're done now. So the coolest thing you see on this is it's got the Hyperfire 24C trigger. I purchased this as soon as they became commercially available. I love the trigger. You can do some really cool stuff to them. They sell it as a sealed unit that you can't open. It's a drop-in. I challenge that because you can open it and you can make them even lighter and you can make it even better. This breaks right at 2 pounds. It's incredible trigger. I love it. I should have more of them, but I don't because they're expensive. So that's what it is. And we covered most of the gun. Really, the only thing left to cover at this point is the option for muzzle brakes. This has a Lantec Dragon. I like it. We've experimented with quite a few. The VG6 brakes are good. The Gamma, the whatever they are. The JP brakes are good. You know, I've had a bunch of different styles. At the time this got put on, we had, I don't know, 15 of them we were out testing. It would have been nice if I had thought about it and put some initiative in. I would have been able to do some footage of them, which would have maybe helped you guys out. This definitely is not the best muzzle brake out there. It definitely does spit a lot of fire. I mean, it's a little flamethrower. It works. It works for what it's supposed to be. It was expensive. It got screwed onto the gun, and there it stays. I'm not taking it off. The next time it comes off, well, I'll be building another AR. I mean, ARs are like women. You can never have enough. The other cool part that's actually something really cool on this gun is it's got the NP3 bolt carrier. If you're not familiar with NP3, that's nickel Teflon. It makes this whole gun so slick. It's just unbelievable. And actually, the more you shoot it, the slicker it gets. You start wearing it through finish and exposing more layers of the Teflon. Teflon is a coating that many of you'll know from pans, right? It's non-stick, keeps that. The other part in here, which I'd show you, but YouTube things, you know what I mean, has a JP silent cap. I'm close. If you listen, you don't hear any of the typical grindy, squeaky springs. That part too is one of the parts that, oh my God, somebody's got a new part out, I gotta have it. And I bought it, because I mean, what's better than buying a brand new rifle and completely stripping it down to buy brand new parts to put on a brand new rifle, because it's better. I mean, I play with Legos, well, I played with Legos. So, that's what this is. Kind of slick. Of course, it's got the whole grip. I like the whole grips. It's got the high beaver tail to it, because it just, I do prefer that. It fills my hand. Some people really like these grips. Some people don't. That's why they make so many different styles, because everybody's got their own flavor. There's not much to say about this one. It's an A2 style upper with M4 cuts, collapsible stock, bayonet lug. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about this. This was another gun I built, assembled out of parts. I mean, I didn't actually machine anything. I assembled this, and I just wanted a stock carbine. That's it. Nothing fancy, no bells and whistles. Ambi safety, different trigger guard. Trigger guard. That's it. Real simple little thing. Have the narrow style, early style forearm with the heat shields. So that's it on this one. This is another rifle that got put together, assembled. This was built for no other reason than I wanted someplace to mount the launcher. It's cool. I had it, and it was too heavy to have on anything full time, so it would just sit in the safe and get bounced around. So we put this together just to show, or just be able to keep it on there. I mean, it's just a toy. It looks cool. I've never even fired the rifle. I don't know if it works. I'm sure it does. It's a flat top upper, bayonet lug, 20-inch. It's got a Magpul forearm on top. That just gave me an easy way to put the rails. I did put an A1 stock on it. I had originally put the triangle handguard on it, and then once I wanted to put the launcher on here, it was actually the reason I put the gun together. I had to take them triangle handguards off, but it looks cool. That's about all I can say about that. So I only have a couple AR pistols. This is one of them, and I'm showing you this last. This is actually one of the last ARs I put together, and there's been a progression. I don't know if you've caught it, but I put a lot of different styles together, different triggers, different barrel lengths, different gas systems, buffers, stocks, various things. And this one here again has that Troy forearm, the infamous, it looks like a big black dick. I get it. I'll give you a second. Go ahead, get it out of your system. Okay, you done? This isn't ribbed for her pleasure, your pleasure, my pleasure. It's designed to be able to shoot this gun, get it smoking hot, and still be able to hold this forearm. I don't have to hold in front of the magazine. And obviously being an AR pistol, not an SBR, I can't have a foregrip on it. Even if I could have a foregrip on it, I'm not a huge fan of them. They get in the way. I have it set up for me, again, left-handed. So I have a rail on the side to be able to attach my Surefire. Has my EOTech, which you may notice is missing off of another rifle. This is where it went. Flip up magnifier. Not really necessary. I do like it, especially with the EOTech. Shooting it at 100 yards, which is more than capable of this gun to do. It helps. The EOTech reticle is large and it covers a lot of the target. With the magnifier, it helps make it a little easier to hit. I generally don't shoot this past 200 yards, but we can sit there all day with this at a 200-yard plate and ring it, almost to the effect it gets bored. Radiant charge and handle. You'll notice I don't even have an ambi safety on this. I should, right? But I don't. It is a left-handed stag upper. The safety, I'm used to just coming down on it. This has a PDW brace, which, and we all know what's going on with the braces. It was separated from the property. It was removed from the gun. I was compliant. I was actually glad the person I gave this to that didn't own any firearms, so they could own the brace, actually hung on to it. I asked them to just throw it away after everything was weird. They hung on to it, and then when things went away, they're like, hey, do you want that back? Well, absolutely I do. Has a whole grip again. Like I said, I'm a fan of them. Some people aren't. I am. Left-handed receiver. It's an Aero Precision lower. Got the big black dick forearm, and it's a VG6 muzzle brake on there, which I really like that. That works well. There's nothing else to really tell you guys about this. That's it. So this was an AR-15 pistol. This was a ban era gun. There's some things about this that you wouldn't recognize today, all you younger guys, you wouldn't understand. But during the ban, in order to have something like an AR pistol, and just like they're trying to do now, or try to do with pistol braces, is the gun had to be under a certain weight, 52 ounces, I think, 56 ounces, somewhere right around there. So this gun, the whole thing is a carbon fiber type material. This is a Bushmaster Carbon 15 Type 97. Got one guy out there that's called me a pretty big liar telling me I don't own this gun. Why he would say that, I don't know. But, bro, I read your comment. Here it is. I guess this is the second time you've seen it. So I'm sure I'm still a lying piece of shit. So this is a ban era gun. Bushmaster purchased the company, I forget who it was, that were producing these and other lightweight AR-15 style guns. Technically, they're not AR-15s. All composite material. And they were light. They had a lot of issues. When I purchased this from Bushmaster, I think it was 2002. It had issues. It did have to get sent back. The original guys at Bushmaster, man, they were great. They actually answered their phone. They sent me to a guy who was in the quality department, told him what was going on. He chuckled and said, "Get it sent to me right now. I'll have it tagged to you in a couple days." I sent it, and within a week of me sending it, they had it back. This had a really interesting style muzzle brake on it. You couldn't have threaded barrels during the assault weapons ban, so this was a ball detent system that was removable. I made the mistake of letting a friend of mine borrow this, and it came back without that part. Bushmaster obviously changed owners, and they definitely quit making ball style compensators because it could have threaded barrels. This gun I coated, it was when I had my shop. This was my first attempt at digital camo, and you can see it turned out pretty cool. It's held up really well. Not a lot to add to that, but this was my first actual AR-15 pistol. The sights on it are kind of interesting. When they talk like the pistol brace band, does the gun have rifle style sights? It's kind of what they mean. If you notice, there's slight differences to these. This isn't considered a rifle style sight. A lot of the verbiage that was used for the pistol brace rules came out about the assault weapons ban. That's where they were using this original verbiage. So in order to have an AR pistol, you couldn't have standard rifle sights. You couldn't have a full length stock or a tube. It's a modified bolt with a modified buffer system. It had to be under a certain weight, which this is. This originally came with a whole grip. I put the A2 style grip on here when I wanted to put the coating on, because it was going to stick better, and it was just a toy anyway. So that's what that is. Pretty cool piece. Nothing more to say about that. So this is a gun I actually purchased recently. It's a Daniel Defense V11. This was used. Oh, somebody owned it. We'll say that. This was a COVID purchase. They bought it, got talked into all kinds of extra crap on it, and had it for a few years, never shot it, traded it in or sold it, whatever it was. I wanted the hammer optic. I had a real big boner for it. I like the optic. It's got a reticle in there it's elevated for distances. It's calibrated for a 16-inch barrel with M855 ammo or 60 grain FMJ. It did have a different stock on it. It did have different grip on it. It did have a different forearm on it. And them were all parts that the owner was talked into. I was relieved when I said, yeah, I want the gun, that the original Daniel Defense parts were in it. This has a Geisley trigger. It has a Ward blast mitigation device with a Surefire comp that's obviously threaded to work with a Ward device. We did shoot this recently, and I mean, this is something I would have never spent the money on. They're expensive. It's heavy, but it does work. It definitely projected the blast and concussion forward downrange. We didn't shoot it enough to say, which is something I'm interested. We didn't shoot it enough to say if we lost the benefit of having a compensator on the gun or not. We were just shooting some groups. So this is a gun I actually bought. I didn't build it. I didn't do anything except get rid of all the bullshit that was on here. I did add a different charging handle, which is an ambidextrous style. Again, I'm left-handed. It still has the standard safety, which eventually will get changed. But that's that. This Daniel Defense. And it is a turd brown.
Right.
So this is my long-range AR. You know, if you want to shoot some prairie dogs, or for me, I like to shoot this at 600 yards. This is the gun I've had for that. It's a DPMS high bar upper. I've shown you that on another style rifle. This, just like that one, it does have a less bare bolt carrier. It's a standard length rifle gas system. This is that other carbon fiber forearm I was telling you I have. It definitely serves a purpose. It's a very, very high quality forearm. It was made by Clark Customs. it was, again, like some of the stuff I got, it was one of the first ones being sold on the market. I saw it in, I think, Front Sight, which is a USPSA or IDPA magazine they used to sell, or not sell, give you as part of your membership to that organization. I saw it. I contacted them when they had a batch ready for sale. I got one. It's a DPMS heavy barrel. Thing is ridiculously heavy. So 1 in 9 twist. It's 223 chamber. So this isn't for 5.56 ammo. This is 223 type ammo. You know, shoots 62 grain well. It shoots 60 grain VMAX extremely well, and that's what I use for 600 yards. 60 grain VMAX on top of some H335 powder. The muzzle brake that's on here, I think it's off of a Scar Light, I believe. I actually have a different muzzle brake for this. Last time we were out shooting it, we tried it. It's a 5/8 thread. It's not the normal, you know, standard AR thread because the diameter of the barrel didn't pay to cut it down there. Oh, this is a Leupold Mark III long range optic. It's got a long ass sunshade on it. Again, if you're shooting prairie dogs or something and you're shooting into the sun, you'll appreciate that. It unscrews like I just showed you. That's usually not something that's on here all the time when we shoot. It's on here now because it was in the safe. Easiest way not to lose something is for it to still be on the gun. It's got your goofy little level to make sure the gun's level when you're sending rounds. It's got, I'd love to tell you what stock this is. I don't remember. It's adjustable in a dozen different ways. You can adjust it here. You can adjust the cant. You can adjust the angle here. And you'll see, and of course the length of pull. And then there's the weights to help balance the gun or help actually add weight to help eliminate recoil. It has a whole grip, and it has that DPMS bolt release and bolt hold open. I wish them parts were still available. That's one of my favorite parts. It also has the fat magazine release. This gun's about 18 pounds. It's heavy. It shoots phenomenal. I mean, on a bad day, you know, and I'm not talking 600 yards, but on a bad day, 100 yards zero, it's a quarter MOA. I mean, you do that effortlessly. So however that equates out to 600. 600 if it's real windy, you know, the 60 grain VMAX bullet isn't the right option in a real windy day, you know, strong gusts, it'll affect that bullet. But on a relatively calm day, it's a fun gun to shoot. It shoots accurately. Some 60 grain, you know, full metal jacket with a high BOC coefficient will shoot well. But I've had this a long time. I've had the optic a long time. I got nothing more to really add about that. Other than it's kind of badass. So this is a gun I built for another special purpose. It's a dissipator type setup. A dissipator is a 16-inch barrel with a true dissipator would have a rifle length gas system, which is where this front sight is. This is a fake dissipator that has a mid-length gas system. I built this to go around the Fostech trigger. It's got a H3 buffer in here, which really helps the style trigger work well. If you're not using an H3 in your binary triggers, try it. You'll like it. It works a lot better with the mid-length gas system and the H3. It's pretty smooth to run. On this, I used a set of Vietnam era furniture. It's an A1 buttstock and it's the A1 triangle forearm. These are, you know, fragile. They broke them, so I understand why they got changed out. The stock and the forearm came from some parts kits back in early 2000, and that was being sold through Sarco USA. And I used them on here because I needed a set, and when we were looking at them, they looked cool. I like the way they feel. I like the shorter length of the stock versus the A2 style buttstock. This does have a Hogue grip on it, which I forgot it was on here, so it's probably going to get taken off. This does have a nickel Teflon bolt carrier, and again, there's much better options out there than nickel Teflon, or I'm sorry, nickel boron. That's not the best finish for a bolt carrier. But yeah, this is the dissipator. Nothing fancy. It's the upper was actually purchased through Delton a few years ago. It was one of their Black Friday sales. Came with the bolt carrier, the upper, no handguard, no carrying handle. It was like $200 for the set, so it was cheap, which was easily justified by putting a Fostech trigger in it because we were going to wreck the barrel anyway. I mean, I'm not expecting accuracy. It's zeroed at 100 yards. It'll shoot at 100 yards. There's some things you can do to the Fostech trigger to make them a lot better. There's one little spring that's available that significantly improves the trigger. It helps it in the standard pull and fire mode, and it also helps in the pull and release mode. I'm not going to give you any links. I'm not going to tell you where to find it. You can find it. Look up Fostech trigger upgrade. It's like an $8 spring. Order two, because you might lose one putting it in, and you pay like $6 or $7 for shipping, so it doesn't pay to buy one, lose one, and then have it cost you triple. So it's worth getting. It's been a fun little build. People really enjoy shooting it. It's got kind of a retro vibe to it. Not true retro, but it's kind of a vibey thing anyway. I mean, it's like dating an old chick with a tit job. I mean, it's just kind of hot. So that's that. So this definitely isn't an AR-15. I mean, clearly, right? It's not an AR-15. It's a Springfield Hellion 16-inch barrel, 4-prong brake, adjustable short stroke gas system, I believe. Ambidextrous controls on everything. You're able to switch the ejection side from left to right. Why am I showing this? It's got the Aimpoint Patrolman M4, I believe, with the Vortex magnifier. Again, stock on these is adjustable, which it's long as it is. The reason I'm showing this is I get asked if I like this rifle. I showed you a whole slew of AR-15s. I mean, I'd hate to add the dollar amount up on them, or all the years, or whatever else. The rifle I enjoy shooting the most out of all of them rifles is actually this one. It's a pretty slick rifle. The controls are a little different. The magazine release is different. For a left-handed shooter, it works because I'm used to stripping a mag anyway. It is slower to reload than an AR-style rifle. The safety on it's a little weird, and the trigger sucks, but it's accurate. It shoots really well. It's balanced. I'd like to say a whole lot more about it, but I don't really need to. It's Springfield Hellion. If you're considering getting one, you should. If you're selling in the I gotta have an AR, there is other options out there. Is this the best bullpup? No. For a left-handed shooter, it's the best bullpup. The Tavors and some of the other ones you can adapt to be left-hand friendly, but you're damn near doubling the cost of the gun. I could buy the gun in a left-hand configuration, same price. If I bought a right-handed one, I wanted to shoot it. Some of these are $800-900 to do the conversion. I'm left-handed. My wife is left-handed. All of our kids are right-handed. It doesn't pay to buy a rifle that's only left-handed. I have a few ARs that I showed you that are left-handed, but it's an AR. You strip the upper and everything else is still there. So easy to adapt, cheap. So this is my Hellion. That's why I saved it for last. This is one I enjoy shooting the most. I wouldn't say this is something you're going to run a gun with, but for being at the range, having fun, shooting offhand, it's a pretty badass gun. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Let's skip the fat jokes. Let's skip the jokes that you've heard with the big black dick. All right, you got something productive to say, ask. You want to know more information on, feel free. I appreciate it. Thank you.